Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Bold and beautiful today. Ridge drowns Nick when they both jump into the ocean to save Brooke. A stunning fashion show and a private boat ride for Ridge and Brooke. Brooke Logan and Ridge Forrester are going to take a private boat cruise. Let's speak about what to expect from Tuesday's thrilling B&B episode, which will also feature a stunning fashion show. The well-known Italian designer Luisa Beccaria has partnered with Forrester Creations to create a new fashion collection. Naturally, it means it's time for a fashion show that will excite the audience and generate some publicity for the business. Eric Forrester will speak and raise a glass to the audience at the event, which will be held in Capri on the terrace of La Canzone del Mare. In addition to participating in this group activity, Ridge and Brooke will also find some time to spend alone. Before the fashion presentation, Brooke and Ridge will take a private boat to Capri, which will allow them to connect and share memories of previous Italian vacations. Given that Taylor Hayes is back in Los Angeles, Ridge might find it harder and harder to concentrate on his commitment to her. It's safe to assume that Brooke will be preoccupied with his engagement as he reconnects with Ridge and they share some lovely moments. In the hopes that Ridge will eventually see that Brooke is his future, Eric will keep playing Cupid. The reunion of Brooke and Ridge will face some challenges, though, such as Nick Marone, who has ambitious plans of his own involving Brooke, a boat, and Capri. Ridge's envious side will undoubtedly surface since Brooke is about to become tired of Ridge and start focusing on Nick. Fans will see a ton of entertaining fashion shows and all the stunning designs that accompany such an occasion till then. It will set the tone for all the excitement to come and be a great way to start this experience in Italy. Steffi's LA exit plan, Ridge's true love epiphany, and Brooke's water horror. In Italy, Ridge Forrester will have a romantic epiphany. The B&B audience knew that Cupid's arrow would eventually hit Brooke Logan and Ridge because Eric Forrester was acting as a matchmaker. Brooke requested Nick Marone to go to Italy with her as a +1. Given that Ridge is living with Taylor Hayes and engaged to her, she thought that was reasonable. Ridge lost it when he learned that Nick would be traveling with them to Italy. While he doesn't approve of a connection with his half-brother, Nick, he does support Brooke moving on from him. It will undoubtedly end in confusion and heartache because Eric, Ridge, Brooke, and Nick are leaving for Italy the week of July 28th. Ridge will eventually determine that Brooke is the one for him, which will cause Nick and Taylor to be devastated. Brooke's horrible water. As part of the fashion event for Forrester Creations, Brooke and Ridge arrive in Capri aboard a boat in the promotional video. In an attempt to pop the question to Brooke, Nick chooses to rent a boat at the same time. When anything goes wrong, Brooke falls into the water. Because she is wearing a tight-fitting white gown, swimming to the surface is practically hard for her. Ridge acts quickly to prevent Brooke from drowning. Ridge comes to the realization that Brooke is his destiny as a result, and he decides to call off his engagement to Taylor. According to previews on The Bold and the Beautiful, Nick may not leave peacefully. He may find a means to blackmail Brooke because he is determined to marry her, perhaps for financial reasons. Because he is holding his cards close to the vest, the B&B viewers are still unaware of his intentions with Brooke. Steffi's plan to leave. Steffi Forrester intends to travel to Europe with the children in order to escape. Last week, she told Liam Spencer that she needed a fresh start because of all that had happened with Luna Nozawa lately. Liam urged her to look after her mental well-being. Now that Luna has passed away, Steffi feels free to breathe without worrying about her hiding in the shadows. Ridge Forrester and Brooke Logan, an encounter catalyzed by a deceptively simple private boat ride preceding a dazzling Forrester Creations fashion spectacle. This pivotal journey across the sparkling waves isn't merely transportation, it's a meticulously crafted isolation chamber, a floating sanctuary where the rhythmic lap of water against the hull and the vast expanse of sea and sky conspire to strip away the distractions of Los Angeles and the complicated entanglements waiting back on shore, particularly Ridge's tenuous engagement to Taylor Hayes, who remains an ocean away, her absence palpably widening the emotional chasm Ridge has been attempting to bridge. As the boat slices through the turquoise water, carrying them towards the iconic La Canzone del Mare terrace, the chosen stage for a momentous collaboration, Brooke and Ridge find themselves enveloped in an intimacy impossible amidst the constant scrutiny of the Forrester mansion or the pressures of the office, the gentle sea breeze carrying with it the scent of salt and nostalgia, inevitably drawing them into reminiscences of past Italian escapades, shared laughter under Tuscan suns, whispered promises and Venetian canals, the profound history and bone-deep connection that defines Bridge bubbling irresistibly to the surface. Brooke, radiant and perhaps cautiously hopeful in this idyllic setting, becomes a living reminder of passion that has weathered countless storms, her presence a siren song Ridge finds increasingly difficult to resist as the miles unfurl behind them, every shared glance, every accidental brush of hands, every quiet moment suspended between the sea and sky chips away at his resolve to honor his commitment to Taylor, the geographical and emotional distance amplifying Brooke's allure and the persistent voice of his own heart, which has never truly stopped beating for her. This private voyage is the crucible where their defenses soften, where guarded words give way to genuine conversation, perhaps even vulnerable admissions, allowing Brooke to reconnect with the Ridge she knows beneath the bluster, rekindling the embers of their legendary love amidst the sun-drenched beauty of the voyage, moments so charged with unspoken longing and reawakened affection that they effectively render Ridge spectacularly distracted long before they even set foot on Capri, his mind less on the impending business triumph and more on the woman beside him, the undeniable magic weaving its spell. Their destination, the legendary La Canzone del Mare terrace, perched dramatically above the sea, is transformed into a temple of haute couture for the unveiling of Forrester Creations' groundbreaking collaboration with the celebrated Italian designer, Luisa Beccaria. This dazzling fashion show is far more than a mere corporate event, it's a strategic masterpiece orchestrated by Eric Forrester, designed to generate seismic buzz for the company, solidify their international prestige, and, not so subtly, provide the perfect romantic stage for his son and Brooke. As guests mingle amidst the breathtaking panorama, sipping champagne under the Italian sky, the air thrums with anticipation for Luisa's visionary creations blended with Forrester's signature elegance. Eric, the proud patriarch and ever-hopeful Cupid, beams with satisfaction, seeing not just the successful fruition of a business venture but the potential fruition of his deepest wish, Ridge finally recognizing Brooke as his undeniable destiny. When Eric steps forward to address the glittering crowd, his speech is imbued with paternal pride for the collection, gratitude towards Luisa, and a warmth that unmistakably encompasses Ridge and Brooke, his raised glass a silent toast to their proximity and the potential he fervently believes lies within this Italian interlude. He watches them, noting their shared smiles, their easy closeness re-established during the boat ride, hoping against hope that the Capri air, the fashion spectacle, and the sheer force of their history will finally pierce Ridge's stubborn denial and bring him home to Brooke. The show itself is a sensory explosion, a dazzling parade of exquisite craftsmanship where Luisa's bold Italian flair intertwines seamlessly with Forrester's timeless sophistication. Models glide down the runway like modern goddesses, adorned in breathtaking gowns that capture the essence of Capri, flowing silks mimicking the sea, vibrant prints echoing bougainvillea, intricate lacework suggesting ancient artistry, and sharp tailoring reflecting the island's chic glamour. The audience is enraptured, gasps and appreciative murmurs rippling through the crowd with each reveal, the collection a potent testament to the synergy between the two design houses, a triumph visible on Eric's face and Ridge's momentarily professional pride. Yet, even amidst the dazzling spectacle, Ridge's gaze frequently drifts from the runway to Brooke, her beauty illuminated by the Italian sun and the glow of the show, her reactions to the clothes, her very presence anchoring him amidst the whirlwind, reinforcing the distraction seeded during their private voyage and making Eric's hopeful glances feel less like wishful thinking and more like an impending inevitability. However, the path of true love, especially for Brooke and Ridge, is perpetually mined with obstacles, and the idyllic Capri setting is no exception. Unbeknownst to them, orchestrating his own Mediterranean maneuver is Nick Marone, Brooke's steadfast confidant and persistent suitor, who arrives with his own significant plans involving Brooke, a boat, and the romantic potential of Capri. Brooke's lingering frustration with Ridge's perpetual indecision, his ping-ponging between her and Taylor, has pushed her towards a critical breaking point. The emotional openness and connection rediscovered on the boat ride are powerful, but they war within her against the exhaustion of waiting, the fear of being hurt again. Nick represents stability, unwavering devotion, and a clear, uncomplicated choice, a stark contrast to Ridge's tumultuous push and pull. As Ridge basks in the afterglow of the successful show and his rekindled moments with Brooke, the sight of Nick's determined presence, coupled with Brooke's potential receptiveness to his advances, will act like a lightning rod for Ridge's notoriously possessive and jealous nature. The very idea of Brooke finding solace, attention, or romance with Nick on his Italian turf, perhaps even on a rival boat ride, is anathema to Ridge. His hard-won composure will shatter, the green-eyed monster roaring to life with undeniable ferocity. This jealousy, far from being a petty emotion, will be a visceral, undeniable revelation, a primal reaction confirming the depth of his claim on Brooke, a claim that supersedes logic or recent promises to Taylor. The dazzling fashion show, while a resounding professional success and a fantastic launchpad for the Italy storyline, ultimately serves as the glittering prelude to the real drama, the intensifying romantic triangle. The private boat ride laid the groundwork, re-establishing the profound bridge connection. The fashion show provided the glamorous setting and Eric's hopeful benediction, but Nick's arrival and Brooke's simmering frustration ignite the fuse. As Tuesday's episode concludes, the stage is exquisitely set for an explosion of passion, confrontation, and life-altering choices. Ridge, torn between duty and desire but now violently confronted with the prospect of losing Brooke to another, faces a moment of truth. Brooke, poised between the irresistible, complicated love of her life and the safe harbor offered by Nick, stands on the precipice of a decision that could finally break the cycle or plunge her back into the familiar, exhilarating storm with Ridge. The dazzling clothes may fade from memory, but the emotional reverberations from that private boat ride and the jealous fury ignited on the shores of Capri will resonate far beyond the terrace of La Canzone del Mare, promising a week of high-stakes romantic turmoil under the Italian sun. The fashion was dazzling, but the real spectacle is just beginning. Eric Forrester, the patriarch playing a dangerous game of romantic chess, orchestrated the trip to Italy for Forrester Creations' prestigious fashion event, his subtle machinations designed to reignite the eternally smoldering embers between his son, Ridge, and the indomitable Brooke Logan. He understood the volatile chemistry, the gravitational pull that defied logic and vows, and gambled that proximity amidst Mediterranean splendor would force the inevitable. Brooke, ever pragmatic yet wounded by Ridge's recommitment to Taylor Hayes and their shared home, countered Eric's unspoken agenda with a move of calculated defiance, inviting Nick Marone, Ridge's enigmatic and often estranged half-brother, as her plus one. It was a declaration of moving on, a shield against the vulnerability Ridge still evoked, and a statement of fairness. If Ridge lived with his fiancée, why shouldn't she have companionship? Yet, the news of Nick's inclusion acted like a detonator within Ridge. His outward support for Brooke finding happiness curdled instantly into visceral, irrational fury. It wasn't just Brooke moving on, it was Brooke moving on with Nick. The complex tapestry of brotherly rivalry, past betrayals, and an unshakable, possessive claim over Brooke ignited a jealousy so profound it sent Ridge spiraling long before their plane touched Italian soil. As Eric, Ridge, Brooke, and the determined Nick converged on Capri during that fateful last week of July, the stage wasn't merely set for fashion, it was primed for an emotional cataclysm where heartbreak wasn't a possibility, but a foregone conclusion, with Ridge's suppressed love for Brooke destined to erupt, leaving Nick and Taylor as collateral damage in its scorching wake. This inevitable eruption found its catalyst not in a whispered confession or a stolen kiss under the stars, but in a moment of sheer, abject terror amidst the very beauty meant to inspire romance. The promotional glimpse offered a scene ripe with dramatic irony and impending doom. Brooke, resplendent and radiating in almost bridal innocence in a devastatingly tight, pure white gown, arriving at the Forrester event via boat alongside Ridge. The gown, a symbol of potential new beginnings or perhaps fragile hope, became her unwitting prison moments later. Simultaneously, Nick, fueled by a toxic cocktail of insecurity and a desperate need to assert dominance over Ridge, enacted a plan as bold as it was foolish. Renting a rival vessel, he aimed to spectacularly upstage his half-brother, intending to seize the perfect moment to propose to Brooke, a public declaration meant to cement his place and obliterate Ridge's lingering presence in her heart. But fate, or perhaps the treacherous nature of the sea and human error, intervened catastrophically. Something went horrifically awry, a misstep on a slippery deck, a sudden lurch of the boat, a collision hidden from view. The consequence was Brooke plummeting into the unforgiving embrace of the Mediterranean. The visual was starkly horrifying, the pristine white gown, instantly saturated, transformed from an emblem of elegance into a deadly weight, clinging to her like a shroud, dragging her down, constricting her movements, making every frantic kick and stroke towards the shimmering surface above a Herculean, and increasingly futile, struggle. Panic etched onto her face, air bubbling away. Brooke was engulfed by the chilling reality of drowning, the glamorous event on shore reduced to a distant, muffled nightmare. It was in this abyss, facing the potential obliteration of the woman who had been his constant, his torment, his greatest love and most profound mistake, that Ridge Forrester's carefully compartmentalized world imploded. The sight of Brooke disappearing beneath the waves, the horrifying realization of her struggle against the fabric meant to adorn her, acted like an electric shock to his soul. Every pretense, every rationalization about commitment to Taylor, every attempt to suppress the Brooke-shaped truth at his core, evaporated in the saltwater spray. Instinct, primal and undeniable, took absolute command. Ridge didn't hesitate, he became pure action, diving into the churning water without a second thought for his own safety or his expensive attire. The struggle was visceral, fighting the drag of his own clothes, battling the water, homing in on the terrifying sight of Brooke's form sinking, her movements growing weaker. Reaching her was a battle, pulling her limp form towards the surface a superhuman feat fueled by adrenaline and a dawning, terrifying clarity. As he broke through, gasping for air, cradling her waterlogged body against him, feeling the faint flutter of her pulse against his own racing heart, the epiphany struck Ridge with the force of a physical blow. This wasn't just saving a life, it was reclaiming his own. The blinding truth he'd fought for years, buried under layers of resentment, pride, and misguided attempts at stability, surged to the surface more powerfully than he had moments before. Brooke Logan was his destiny. The near loss obliterated every barrier. The engagement to Taylor, once a refuge, now felt like a suffocating lie. The life he'd built without Brooke was instantly revealed as a hollow facade. Holding her, realizing how close he came to a world permanently bleached of her light, Ridge understood with absolute, terrifying certainty that he could never walk away again. Taylor's heartbreak, looming on the horizon, became a necessary casualty in the wake of this life-altering revelation. His true love demanded nothing less than total surrender. However, the churning waters of Capri promised no calm after this storm, especially concerning the man Brooke had brought as her shield. Nick Marone, watching the harrowing rescue from his own boat, likely experienced a maelstrom of emotions, relief warring with seething resentment and humiliation. His meticulously planned proposal upstaged not by Ridge's charm, but by Ridge's heroism in saving the woman he intended to claim. The spoiler's whisper of Nick's refusal to go away quietly, and his motives remained shrouded in unsettling ambiguity. While genuine affection for Brooke might exist, the specter of financial incentive looms large. His pursuit of Brooke, especially amidst the glittering wealth of the Forresters and Logans, has always carried a faint whiff of opportunism. Was his rush to propose in Italy a genuine declaration, or a strategic move to secure his position before Ridge could interfere? With his grand gesture drowned literally and figuratively, and Brooke undoubtedly reeling towards Ridge in the aftermath of her rescue, Nick's wounded pride and potentially thwarted ambitions could curdle into something dangerous. The suggestion of blackmail is a chilling prospect. What leverage could he possess? Knowledge of a past secret Brooke desperately wants buried? A twist in their shared history? Or simply the threat of exposing her wavering feelings before she's ready? Nick, ever the player keeping his cards frustratingly close to his vest, transforms from spurned suitor to a potential antagonist, a shadowy figure capable of weaponizing Brooke's vulnerabilities or the explosive fallout of Ridge's epiphany. His quiet fury on that boat foreshadows a counterstorm brewing, one that could make Brooke's watery horror seem like merely the first act in a protracted drama of revenge and manipulation. While Brooke faced a literal descent and Ridge an emotional one, Steffi Forrester's storyline offered a contrasting trajectory, a desperate ascent away from the suffocating atmosphere of Los Angeles. Her decision to flee to Europe with the children wasn't born of romantic epiphany, but from the crushing weight of recent trauma and the desperate need for psychological sanctuary. The harrowing ordeal with Luna Nozawa, the stalking, the constant fear, the violation of her home and family's safety, had left deep, festering wounds on Steffi's psyche. Even with Luna's tragic demise offering a grim closure, the psychic scars remained raw. The relentless tension, the hypervigilance, the feeling of never being safe even within her own walls, had become unbearable. Her confession to Liam Spencer the prior week was a cry for help, an admission that the foundations of her mental well-being had been dangerously eroded. Liam's support, urging her to prioritize her healing, provided the final validation she needed. Europe represented more than just a change of scenery, it symbolized a hard reset, an ocean's breadth of distance from the triggers and memories embedded in every corner of Los Angeles. She could finally breathe without the phantom sensation of Luna lurking in the shadows, finally seek peace without the constant, low hum of anxiety. Steffi's exit plan, therefore, stands in stark contrast to the chaotic convergence in Italy. It's a flight from trauma towards the fragile hope of recovery, a necessary exile for the sake of her children and her own fractured spirit. Yet, even her departure is tinged with the knowledge that the dramas of her family, particularly the impending explosion between her father Ridge, her stepmother Brooke, and the volatile Nick, are merely on pause, waiting to engulf her world once more upon any potential return. Thus, the idyllic shores of Capri bore witness not to a celebration of fashion, but to a seismic shift in the emotional landscape of the bold and the beautiful. Brooke's plunge into the Mediterranean became a baptism of terror that washed away Ridge's denial, revealing the unbreakable, often destructive, bond that is their shared destiny. His ensuing epiphany, while a long-awaited moment for Bridge fans, promises scorched earth, shattering his engagement to Taylor and setting Nick Marone on a path of potentially vengeful resistance, his true motives and capacity for malice still ominously veiled. Meanwhile, Steffi's planned exodus to Europe underscores the deep, lingering trauma inflicted by the Luna nightmare, a necessary retreat for healing that highlights the pervasive cost of the constant high-stakes drama in Los Angeles. These three threads, Brooke's water horror triggering Ridge's true love epiphany, Nick's looming retaliation, and Steffi's desperate escape, are inextricably intertwined, demonstrating how one event in this tightly woven world creates ripples that threaten to capsize multiple lives. The Capri trip, intended as a business venture and a subtle matchmaking ploy, instead became the stage for near tragedy, profound revelation, and the ruthless realignment of fates, proving once again that for the residents of Los Angeles, love is rarely a gentle current, but more often a riptide, and escape is never truly permanent.